Hello and welcome to the second episode of this week's SBK Daily Racing Podcast, covering all the action at the Cheltenham Festival. If you joined us yesterday, welcome back. If you didn't, and this is the first time you're seeing one of these daily podcasts, in the next 15-20 minutes or so, we'll review the previous day's action and then talk about all the racing ahead on Wednesday, in this instance, the second day of the Cheltenham Festival. Tom Collins here, joined by Ross Millar as ever. We'll start with a brief review of Tuesday's contest, and we are literally filming this straight after the champion hurdle. So you're going to get hot takes here. Ross, that was absolutely madness. I don't know what happened there. Constitution Hill came down. Brighter Days Ahead didn't perform. State Man came down with a race at his mercy at the last. I mean, Golden Aces ended up winning at 25-1. Burdett Road second at 66-1. Winter Fog third at 150. Madness.
Yeah, I'd like to say I had the TriCast up, TC, so happy days. No, I mean, you will never see a more bizarre champion hurdle in all my life. We just said to you now before we come on, this is going to test our composure. Constitution Hill, I mean, State Man, Constitution Hill, both up. That's the most important thing. He has that in his locker, doesn't he? I hope that the mistake last time in the International would perhaps just iron that out, and it didn't. He was very long to the one before the one he fell at. And when he fell, actually, he was too far off it, but he was also unfortunate in that Brighter Days Ahead had also flicked it. So if you watch it back, the hurdle was in a trajectory back towards him as he clipped the top of it. So, of course, from my brief knowledge of a bit of physics at school, I know that that's going to increase the force with which he hit it. And down he came. He's up. Nico was getting treatment. Hopefully he'll be all right. State Man goes down to the last, looking like he's going to land back-to-back champion hurdle after Bright Days Ahead. Did she not turn up? Well, I think she ran the same sort of race as she did last year. I just don't think this is her track. I mean, I will oppose her at this track every time she turns up, whatever she does through the rest of the winter. But you will not get a nicer trainer than Jeremy Scott. Lorcan Williams had a tough season, and the owner overruled connections and said, "We are running here." Kudos to him. You have to be in it to win it. So, amongst all the sadness, and my pocket is a bit damaged. I love Constitution Hill, and I want him to come back and show the horse he is. Amongst that, it's still a nice result.
Yeah, Ian Gosden paid, I think it was 12,000 for Golden Ace, and she's just picked up 253,000 for just winning the champion hurdle alone. That's not even talking about last year's victory at the festival or her other victories. I think I actually tipped her for the Kingwell. I believe it was last time up at Wincanton when she just scraped home. Look, I love this horse, but I didn't think she would get close today. And to be fair, if State Man stood up or Constitution Hill likely stood up, it was probably going to be third best for her. But still, an amazing result. This is testing our professionalism, as you say. I'm gutted that Constitution Hill didn't win, but it's racing and it happens. It's the great part of this sport is super unpredictable. A couple of other results to talk about on Tuesday. As I say, filming this after the champion hurdle, so there is still 2 races to come. But of the races that have finished, I thought Copector Board was very impressive in the Supreme. William Money ran a great race in second there. What did you think?
Yeah, beautiful performance, wasn't it? And they got everything right. Hood went on. It was very clear. I sort of went and had a bit more when I saw him so relaxed in the parade ring. Went through the race nicely. I said on the preview pod, I think this might well be a Supreme that throws up plenty of good horses. I think the runner-up is a very smart horse. Copec de Port is clearly got a huge engine. To do what he did over the last, to lose the momentum when hitting the hurdle, but to land hind legs first and then pick up and go again. That's twice now. I think he's done quite freakish things in back-to-back races. He's a really smart horse. Majborough, as you said in the article, his jumping came to get him, didn't it? And I just wonder whether Mark Walsh will want that ride back and be a bit more positive turning in. I think there was a stride there to have moved up to it the second last when he got in tight and fiddled. Brave horse, though, battled back, and he's clearly got a huge engine.
Yeah, he does. He was unlucky to lose, to be fair. Actually, I say the word unlucky. I don't think he was unlucky because jumping is the name of the game. He was just unfortunate that his jumping wasn't up to scratch today. Definitely the best horse in terms of talent. But for podcast purposes, it gave us a winner as I put up Django Bay at 15-2. A couple of other quick mentions. I put up Melina Gale to finish third in the Ultima, each way money there at 14s. You also put up Search for Glory at a huge price, 43-1 with SBK, as well as Happy Go Lucky at 25s, and both placed in that race as well. So that was a good race for us, despite not having the winner.
Yeah, happy with that. And it was a good race as well, wasn't it? I mean, Martown, what a performance. I mean, I couldn't have touched him with counterfeit money after that fall at Windsor. I just big field handicap. But, Patrick White had the right idea. Jump out in front. I loved the interview where he said that he felt as soon as it was a standing start, he really fancied his chances because he knew his horse would be so sharp off the mark. I mean, these Dylan Thomases, they're clearly a bit wide, but they've got big engines. They jump in a slightly unusual way. They don't use their back an awful lot, but loads of scope. again, first day of the festival, and a nice story, isn't it? A young lad who got parachuted in for a ride he wasn't expecting to get, getting a taste of Cheltenham success.
Yeah, absolutely. Lucinda Russell said in a post-race interview, by the way, prior to this contest, but after the last success for My Town, that they wouldn't be going to Cheltenham and they'd go to Uttoxeter instead. Well, that didn't pan out. They went to Cheltenham and they copped a big prize. Okay, let's look ahead now. Before we go through Wednesday's card, a quick reminder of some of the offers that SBK have right now. Firstly, opt in and place a £5 bet builder on any Champions League game tonight. This is Tuesday, and you will get a free £2 free bet for the Turners tomorrow. Secondly, SBK is offering a 20% winnings boost on the Turners, the first race on Wednesday. And thirdly, SBK is providing a £2 Cheltenham multiple for all customers, for those who opt in to receive it. You do have to opt in. That is crucial for a couple of those offers. So make sure you go and check out the T's and C's if you want to take advantage of them. Right, here we go then. The Turners Novices Hurdle. First up on Wednesday, 1:20 p.m. Final Demand and the New Lion clash here. SBK go around 15 to 8, 2 to 1 about both at the time of recording. The Yellow Clay's third favourite is 6 to 1. What do you like, Ross?
I like the New Lion. I think he's the pacier horse. I'm heartened by the fact that I think the ground looks like it's almost on the quick side. They have got sleet, snow, bit of rain forecast. Could be 5 mil. If that changed the ground, and I don't expect it to now, I think that does give Final Demand a better chance. But I think the New Lion is the quicker horse. I think this is a race for pacey horses. Saw Harry Skelton sporting a really good black eye with some stitches. I think he got kicked by a foal, I think I heard him say. So the New Line is the one for me. We've been over it on the previous podcast. JP has bought him. That's always a big mark for me. They don't get an awful lot wrong with these horse in training purchases. 6 Mile Bridge, I was quite sweet on him from some way out at a big price. Interesting to see that Tripoli Flyer, Fergal O'Brien's runner today, was taken out with a temperature. Fergal O'Brien's form's not great, 7%. I just wonder, I don't want to sort of put 2 and 2 together and get 5, but I just wonder whether the health of the yard is quite what it wants to be. Desart Enos was very disappointed to us. She was beaten 18 lengths. So cool a little bit on him. I think I'll be all in on the New Lion for this one.
Yeah, 6 Mile Bridge is 19 to 1 if you are interested by that horse. But the New Lion is the main pick for Ross Millar and the Turners. That horse is 2 to 1 with SBK. Look, I prefer the New Lion to Final Demand at the top of the market. I think the New Lion's just speedier and a better horse, actually, at this stage, despite the social media hype around Final Demand. However, my bet in this race is going to be on the Yellow Clay. Look, I think he's in the wrong race. I bet him Antipose for the Albert Bartlett. I've been saying to Gordon Elliott that he should be running in the Albert Bartlett for the last year. They've decided to go to the Turners. Unfortunately, that's my ticket in the bin. But I'll go in each way here, around 6, 7 to 1. I think it's an each way bet to nothing. He'll be in the top 3. Whether he's good enough and quick enough to beat the New Lion, I'm not sure. But he should be able to get a place, and then it's minor profit, regardless of whether he wins or if he just finishes second or third. We'll move swiftly on to the Brown Advisory Novices Chase at 2 p.m. Ballyburn, the banker for many of the Cheltenham Festival. I know some of you would have had Lossiemouth, some would have had Copector Board, some of you would have had probably Constitution Hill. But I think Ballyburn is the one that I've seen most popular on social media. He is the 6 to 5 favourite in places. Some places he's odds on. Watch the market on this one. Surely he's the horse to beat, no?
Yeah, he is. I mean, I start to get nosebleeds when we get down to sort of 6 to 5 even money odds on shots in novice chases anywhere, let alone at the Cheltenham Festival. But when we did the preview pod, he was 7 to 4. I thought of the short-priced fancied horses, that was the best price. I think too much was made of his jumping. As I said, watch his Kempton run back, bar the last, which he banked and was still, I thought, quite intelligent. He jumped really well. He shortens up. He's got plenty of scope. The nice ground is going to help him get this trip. He's only got to go a few furlongs further than he did at the Dublin Race Festival, where I thought his best furlong was his last furlong. I think too much made of his jumping. I think there's a bunch of slow plodders in here against him that are going to need soft ground to be seen at their best in the long term. So, yeah, I'm comfortable about him. The price is shortening, which always makes you a bit nervous, doesn't it?
Yeah, 20 to 21 at the time of recording with SBK. Was bigger earlier. I don't know if that still exists, but 20 to 21 with SBK. Ballyburn for Ross, Ballyburn for me as well. I just think he's the best horse in the race. I'm just going to emulate everything Ross said. The trip will be fine. He's the most talented against a bunch of plodders. He should be winning. And actually, that price is very fair considering the horses he's against and actually the profile of Ballyburn. The Coral Cup is up next. That's the third race on the card on Wednesday. A maximum field of 26 runners here. 5 to 1 the favourite with Be Aware and Bunting at the top of the market. This is obviously a lot trickier than the Brown Advisory. Where are your darts going?
Well, I've already got a couple of darts missed, TC not being declared, Nadawi and Dan Scoutman's other horse, which I think is going to go to Uttoxeter instead. Jimmy De Soil is still in here. He doesn't have the assistance of Paul Town, and Paul Town's going to be bunting. I just wonder whether, having ridden today on lively ground, Paul Town would be wishing he'd swap back, because I think bunting is best with a bit of cut in the ground. Jimmy De Soil not been seen this season. He chased home Ballyburn in the Turners as it was last year. That was a really good run. He's got the requisite number of runs because he's run in France. I think he's really potentially well handicapped. But if you look at all his form, there's an easy argument to say that he's well handicapped off this mark. And then just one other at a big price, maybe Ballyadam. He's near the top of the weights, but he was second in this race last year, beaten 3.5 lengths when trying to give £6 to that horse Langadan, who's now rated 158. A talented horse, Langadan, on his day when he's sort of feeling like he wants to do it. Ballyadam loves this track. He's got good form in the county, good form in novice hurdles going back. He's a bit of an old boy now. Henry de Bromhead, we're going to need to see something from his form, before then. But I do like Ballyadam as a horse, and I think he'll outrun his odds.
Currently both 15 to 1 with SVK right now, Jimmy De Soil and Ballyadam for Ross. I'm going to put up 2 as well. I'm going to be with Be Aware. I understand it's very unoriginal here. Dan Skelton's been raving about this horse, and that's not the reason I'm with him. Actually, that would generally put me off because you lose all types of value when a trainer hypes a horse as much as Dan has hyped Be Aware. However, this horse has quite clearly been a longer term prospect with one race in mind, that being the Coral Cup on Wednesday. I think he's just well handicapped, and therefore I have to bet him, providing he's around 5 to 1, 11 to 2. And also have a couple of quid on Star Ferrer, who's about 25 to 1, much bigger price for Gordon Elliott. He ran well in the Grand Annual at this meeting last year over fences. Back to hurdling now. For good hurdling mark, he could play a role as a big price outsider. So 2 for me in the Coral Cup as well. The cross country chase is up next at 3.20. A great spectacle. Not necessarily the best of punting races. I'm going to duck out of this one, Ross. I have no opinion on the cross country. I like the fact it's now a handicap, but it just never really interests me year on year. So I'm going to leave this all to you.
Yeah, I enjoy it. It sort of harks back to my eventing days, so I do quite enjoy watching them sort of negotiate the different obstacles. I won't have a bet again, TC, because I'm quite well loaded at this at various times. Galvin, I think, is the class angling here, and the more the ground dries, the more he's going to like it. He was just touched off by Shattered Love a couple of years back on ground he wouldn't have liked. He's run well in the National off around about this mark, been laid out for this race. I think he's got outstanding credentials. I'm already in on and advised Mr. Coffee after his first run. I thought it was promising run. Perhaps did a bit too much last time and didn't better that, but he gets a nice pull at the weights with Stumptown. I think we've already seen that Nicky Henson's horses are in good form this week, so I like him. And then Chemical Energy, he really caught the eye, just having a bob round on his first taste of cross-country fences. He's quite a classy horse. He was behind Gaillard de Menil in the National Hunt Chase a couple of years back. On that form line, this current handicap mark looks more than workable. He'll certainly stay. So those 3, but I wouldn't be keen to go in again at current prices.
Yeah, so it's Galvin, Mr. Coffee, and Chemical Energy. I will just repeat the current prices for those who aren't in the position that Ross is in with those tickets already. Galvin's currently 4 to 1, Mr. Coffee currently 9 to 1, Chemical Energy currently 33 to 1. Okay, we'll move on to the Grade 1 Queen Mother Champion Chase at 4 p.m. Jonbon returns to Cheltenham and is 10 to 11 for Glory. He's 17 from 20 in his career. He is prone, in my opinion, to a jumping mistake at Cheltenham. Are you with him? I know we're both big actual fans of the horse, but will you punt him at odds on?
I would. I don't need to because I'm already there, but I would. He's not made a jumping mistake at Cheltenham, the Nico de Boinville, has he? James Bowen and Aidan Coleman have been the jockeys on that make mistakes, and fine jockeys as as Aidan Coleman was and as James Bowen is. Nico de Boinville really gets this horse, and I think that's the key here. I don't buy this. He doesn't act at Cheltenham hype. I think he gets on really well with Nico de Boinville. He'll like the ground, whatever it does. I think he's comfortably the most talented horse in this race, as we have seen today. It's horse racing and anything can happen, but I think given all things that being fair, I think he's the one to be with. Just do like Founder 50. He's at a big price. Solness has sort of been an improver through the season, so maybe it's folly to take the Fortria Chase form at face value. But he beat Solness a neck, giving him £7. Appeared to like the ground on that occasion. I think he'd be ridden to pick up the pieces. There is still 3 places available, so he would appeal if you don't fancy taking an odds-on shot.
Yeah, so Jonbon there for Ross at 10 to 11. Found a 50 at 14 to 1 each way. A couple of picks there for the Queen Mother Champion Chase. I'm going to play Marine Nationale each way at 6 to 1. 31 to 5 actually. Best price with SBK right now. He shaped really well at Leopardstown last time. maybe been a bit disappointing this year, but I think he's still got the talent that we saw last season. And if he does, he should go close, providing Jonbon doesn't perform to his best, which is a possibility. If he does perform to his best, Jonbon will likely win this race. But if you play each way at around 6-1, as I say, small profit for just second or third. And if the favourite disappoints, maybe you can win. That would also be a very good story as well, wouldn't it, for Michael O'Sullivan, who the crowd gave a huge roar to on Tuesday, Ross.
Yeah, that was really nice, and I must admit, I mean, going down to the last in the Supreme, having been on Coppic de Boers, didn't have a penny on William Money. To be honest, if I'd have got overturned, it was a financial loss I could have lived with, because it would have just meant quite so much. But I do think the owners of Coppic de Boers were very, very gracious in defeat. Straight away deflecting onto a bigger picture, which of course there is. It's horse racing. We'll all be bemoaning, Constitution Hill coming down, State Man coming down. My poor mate Andy has been banging on about State Man all winter, not to sleep on him. He messaged me and said, "Told you so," and then 2 seconds later he said, "Oh, what's happened there?" There is more to life than watching horses run around a field. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't be at all sad to see Marine Nationale go in.
Absolutely. The penultimate race on Wednesday is the Grand Annual. The average price of the winner of this race over the last 10 years is 21-1. A tough contest. 7-1 the field this year. Wide open field. I mean, we've got to look for prices, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we have, TC. I mean, I was quite sweet on my mate Mozzie. I went through the handicaps on the Tuesday podcast 2 weeks ago, and I was really sweet on Jasco de Dame for Henry de Bromhead, and I thought I cannot put this horse up because it's simply not going to get a run. But I think you just said the same thing about Martam. Jasco de Dame gets in at the bottom of the weights, I think 10 stone 3. It's got some really nice bits of form on good ground, particularly at Wexford, where it beat Anne-Pierre Derg, who's now 132 rated, giving that horse £5. Jasper de Dam gets in here off 131. Henry de Bromhead does well with his 2 mile chasers. This horse will like the ground, will like the strong pace, stays further than 2 miles. I'm quite sweet on this one. I think it's got a good each way shout.
Yeah, interesting. 22-1, Jasko de Dam. My mate Mozzie currently around 7-1, 15-2. I say we have to go for a price because I'm going to be the opposite. I'm going to default onto the favourite, which I hate doing. But this kind of race is not for me. It's not the type of race I would generally bet in. I think Unexpected Party is the most logical winner, but he doesn't represent much value currently for Dan Skelton. Horse won the race last year, £6 higher this year, jumps well, probably been targeted here again. That's as much as my opinion, as far as my opinion goes in this race. It's a wide open heat, and if you find the winner, you'll probably be richly rewarded. Finally, it's on to the champion bumper. Willie Mullins has won 5 of the last 7 editions of this race, but he's got a whole heap of runners. Which one's going to win, Ross?
Well, that's the question. I mean, the default is to go with Patrick because Patrick gets the pick. I'm actually going to go with Game of Inches, who doesn't get the Patrick pick. That's a bit like saying your date can't turn up, but don't worry, Margot Robbie's rocking up instead, because you get Paul Townend. I really like what this horse did at Punchestown. It's not a bumper that or a race that I get particularly involved with. I probably have the same stance as you do with the cross country. By Blue Brazil, out of Flemingsfirth, nice pedigree, really eye-catching performance. The turnaround is quick enough. It was only in mid-February that he made his debut, but just looked really, really promising. And such is the depth that Willie Mullins has. It's a tough race for Patrick to choose the right one year on year.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm also going to be going against Patrick Mullins' ride. When Patrick picks a horse, the price immediately collapses and all the other Willie Mullins horses' prices increase. So you kind of get the value elsewhere. It's actually worth opposing Patrick despite his good record in the race. I'm going to be going with Bambino Fever in here, again for Willie Mullins, but Jodie Townend on board this time. This horse is 2 from 2 under rules. I thought she shaped really well actually when she won last time. And she's much more of a grinder than a quickener, which can sometimes be the way to win a champion bumper. Every year people talk about stayers winning the champion bumper and then going over 2.5 or 3 miles the next year. And I think Bambino Fever is the archetypal horse to run well in this race and then progress to be a really nice hurdler. So she's going to be my pick in here at 7-1. She's already proven that she's got the class, and I don't mind the jockey booking one bit. She's actually top rated out of the Mullins horses too. That is all of Wednesday's action covered. Ross, best selection for you?
Ooh, I think Galvin in the cross-country race, TC, at a price. I mean, the new line at a slightly shorter price, but to be a bit juicy with the price, let's say Galvin.
Yeah, I'll do similar. I'll say Bambino Fever in the Champion Bumper is my best play. Ballyburn's the obvious pick there for me, but I'll go for a bit of a price instead. Now it's time to do our 4-leg combined accumulator. As always, ACCAs aren't necessarily the best way to play races generally, but especially at Cheltenham, as we saw on Tuesday. However, we know that lots of you enjoy them, so we're going to put 2 horses up each for the ACCA. I'm going to go with Ballyburn and Bambino Fever, and you're going to add...
Well, it's easy, isn't it, TC? You just lump in the shorties, Copec de Bour's Maj, Lossy Mouth, and Constant Hill paid out on Tuesday. I'm going to throw in Galvin in the cross country. I think the ground's come right for him. I think this has been a long-term target. And Jasco de Dame, who I've just got a real nice feeling about.
Yeah, so Galvin, Jasco de Dame, Bambino Fever, Ballyburn, that's a combined ACCA odds of 1,428 to 1. Look, if you're going to have an accumulator, you should go for prices. This is a prime example of where we could have a big return. Look, it might not happen, but at the same time, you need a bang for your buck. There's no point playing these 6 to 1 ACCAs. I know it sounds like hindsight, but it's not. We were trying to tell you beforehand too. Excellent stuff. That's Wednesday's action all covered. Just a reminder of the numerous offers that I talked about at the top of the show here. 20% winnings boost on the Turners, the first race on Wednesday. A free £2 Cheltenham multiple on offer for all customers if you opt in with SBK. And also a free £2 bet on the Turners if you place a £5 bet builder on any Champions League game on Tuesday evening. Again, you've got to opt in for that with SBK. Also, all new SBK customers can get £40 in free bets when you sign up and bet your first £10. T's and C's apply. And finally, you can listen to all of these SBK betting podcasts, whether it be the daily ones or the weekly ones that we do throughout the whole year, over on the SBK app. Just go to the horse racing page and click play. Thank you very much for watching this episode. Make sure you come back again tomorrow, where we'll be recapping some of Wednesday's action, talking through Thursday's races and providing tips and analysis. Goodbye.